us for the latest installment of the HDSA Research Webinar Series. This is George Orling from HDSA, and instead of having a typical science-oriented webinar from a scientist from around the world present, I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce the community to a brand new research or clinical trial resource called the HD TrialFinder that we have just launched and have made available to everyone. So I'll take everyone through a brief demo of the site, how to find it, how to use it, and hopefully answer any questions that people may have. Just in case anyone on the line is new to the HDSA webinars or GoToWebinar, you can ask any questions at any time during this presentation. Just simply put them in type them in the red box where I've highlighted here in the questions area, and click send. And at the end of the presentation, I'll go through and try to answer as many questions as possible. We are recording and archiving this webinar, so we will make it available on our website and on our YouTube channel. So if you have to dial out or you know others that would like to maybe hear this and how to use this site, please feel free to share the link with them. We should have this up online within a week after today. Just a quick note of the upcoming schedule for the research webinar series. Instead of a webinar next month, we are webcasting our research forum, which will be taking place on June 27th from 10 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be having great talks from Drs. Neela Ronan from UMass, Dr. Marcy McDonald from Mass General Hospital, Harvard, as well as Dr. Ed Wild and Jeff Carroll of HD Buzz fame presenting and wrapping up our research forum. So we will be webcasting that, streaming that through to the community, so stay tuned for that, and hopefully you'll join us. If you can't in person, join us on the web on June 27th. In September, on September 9th, we'll be having a talk from Christina Bekanovich, who is a scientist at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden. You've probably seen lots of press releases over the past week or two about this exciting paper that came out in Nature Neuroscience talking about a DNA variation that was found in a region of the Huntington promoter. This is the region of the gene that controls the expression of the Huntington protein or gene. And Christina will be joining us to go over her paper with the community. So go ahead and get started. There's no one to introduce. I will be talking you through what we call the HD TrialFinder. What we hope that this resource does is fill a important gap in the HD community, and that was a lack of a centralized database for HD trial options for people. When people were community members or interested in participating in research, the information was kind of all over the place, and people lacked a great place to go to find out exactly where the trials were, what they were about, and who they should exactly contact if they were interested in getting involved. There were sites that HDSA had called hdtrials.org, where you could go in with your email address and your zip code, and in theory you should be emailed a clinical trial site information when something popped up in your area. That program just didn't work very well, and I think most people, if anyone had participated in it, received very little information about trials from that resource. There are other resources like clinicaltrials.gov, which list every clinical trial around the world. And if you went in today into clinicaltrials.gov and typed Huntington's disease, you'd see, at least according to a couple days ago, 834 different options would pop up. Those really aren't true options for HD families across America and Canada. So what we've done is partnered with a company called Emerging Med to really sort through this mess and the noise and exclude things that are not real options for families, and only truly recruiting clinical trials for HD are in the database for HD TrialFinder. So I'm going to end out of this and hopefully now show everyone how to get to the HD TrialFinder. There's a number of ways you can do it. You can go to our HDSA website, hdsa.org, and if you scroll down onto the bottom, you'll see Enroll in a Clinical Trial. If you just click here, it will take you to the HD TrialFinder site. Additionally, if you type in hdtrials.org, the old site, you will be directed to this new site now. hdtrials.org has been decommissioned and now points all traffic to HD TrialFinder. So now we're at the site, and you want to get started. So the first thing you'll want to do for all new visitors is to, well, before I get started, I just also want to point out, if you scroll down, this is new, that we've worked very closely in partnership with a number of the major North American HD organizations out there. So they're all listed here: HD DrugWorks, Help for HD, HD Buzz, the Huntington Society of Canada, the Huntington Study Group, as well as CHDI Foundation, who've all provided very valuable insight and assistance in helping us shape and develop this resource for the community. And they've all have vetted this and have endorsed this and are willing partners in clinical trial education. So we've listed them, all of their logos here. We recognize that not everyone turns to HDSA for their HD information. We hope that people will, but just in case they don't, hopefully people will find comfort in knowing that all of these other organizations are fully behind this new resource. So you've heard someone present about an HD trial. You want to get involved, and now I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get the information very quickly that's personalized for your particular case. So the first step you will do after you've gone to hdtrialfinder.org or go to hdsa.org and click on Enroll a Trial, you click here, Get Started. And your first step is to create an account. And I'm going to create a mock account. You can put any name you want. I'm going to be CureHD. You do not need to provide a last name. You have to provide a email address. I'm going to be curehd@test.com. We'll confirm that. Select the password for your email account. And click either yes, would you like to receive information about HDSA programs such as research, education advocacy, and other events, in particular regarding clinical trials in your area. Click yes or no. And if you click no, you will not be contacted by anyone. If yes, HDSA or our partner Emerging Med could be in contact with you about HD trial information. So you're ready to set up an account. You click OK or Continue. And now you're here for, you have to create a profile. This is very easy. You can create this profile for yourself. You can create this on behalf of a family member, of a friend, or you could be a physician creating this on behalf of your patient. We specifically put this here because we want to empower HD families and patients when they're in the office with their doctors I know it's a very busy time and you have a very limited amount of time with them, but this website is all adapted to your smartphone, so you're able to use it on your iPhone and pull up this website, show your doctor, and have them, he or her, review this and take a look at what trials you may have matched for, and you may have questions, and maybe they can answer them for you or give you some suggestions. But we want you to feel empowered by having some resource at your fingertips when you're with your doctor that you can talk to them about different trial options or research options for you. I'm going to fill this out as myself for the first example, and I'm going to provide my zip code here in New York. It's 10018, and I am, let's just say, New York City. That is my profile. And now we're going to be prompted just to answer 11 very brief questions to help the system match you to a trial that's suitable for you. All of these questions are, except for one, which is where you receive your care, help the system really diagnose or pinpoint the trials that are right for you. They may in some way be exclusionary criteria for trials, so if you're over a certain age, or you're a particular gender, or you're on particular medications, or you've had particular surgeries or other types of diseases that these all could prevent you from being a candidate for a particular clinical trial. That's what the purpose of these questions are. So I'm going to put in a birth date. I'm going to say I'm 40-ish. Your gender, and I'll also point out that you can prefer not to answer any of these questions. The more questions you answer, the better the matching criteria you'll get. To get the most clinical trial matches, you'll want to click adult onset Huntington's disease. There are really no clinical trials going on for asymptomatic, gene-negative, or caregiver patients or caregivers. Except for one, Enroll-HD, which everyone can participate in. But to see the trials that are actually interventional trials that are testing investigational drugs, you'll want to click adult onset Huntington's disease. For all of these, the question is, where did you receive your care? You can select all that apply. You can easily just say, I'm not sure, it's not applicable. This is a question about how many family members are diagnosed with HD. We can also just say, I'm not sure, and it's not applicable. The next question is pretty important. Is there a family member or caregiver or friend that can assist you in fulfilling the visits? I'm going to say yes. Can you walk without assistance? I'll say yes. Do you require nursing care? I'll select no. Do you have any of the following medical devices? Some people may not be sure or forget. Let's just say not sure. Same thing with this question here about, are you taking any of the following medications? Select all that apply. Some of these medications exclude you from clinical trials. If you're just not sure, or your drug is not listed here, click not sure, not applicable. A study coordinator will be best to answer that for you. And then finally, are there any conditions that are currently affecting you? Click not sure, not applicable, if you're unsure. That's it. That's the questionnaire. Click Save and Submit. And what you've got, the system has pulled up match results that are specific for you based on the questions that you just answered. They're going to be listed in the location that's closest to the zip code that you put in your profile. There's going to be, these are preliminary results, so there may be additional criteria that may exclude you from this study. This is just a quick filter to point you in the right direction. We encourage you to contact the study coordinator that's listed for each trial if you want to learn more about it. And please know that you're not obligated in any way, shape, or form to enroll in any study or remain in any study after you enroll. This is just to provide you information about what you may match to. So we're just going to click our match results. And this is what your typical output will look like. We browse down, and you can search. There's a nice tool in here. It's really not that useful right now because we don't have a lot of HD clinical trials ongoing. So, but if we did, like in the case of Alzheimer's or cancer, where there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different trials going on, maybe we'll get to that point in the future. You can select all the different trials based on the different phase, maybe the title or the type of intervention, as well as the drug. If you're looking for a particular drug, you can search through your results using this menu here. Like I said, there aren't many clinical trials out there for the community right now, but here are 5 that popped up, clinical studies based on my questionnaire. And I'll just walk you through one of them here. This is the first study that I matched to based on my results was a phase 2 study. And here is the ID information from clinicaltrials.gov. If you wanted really specific information about that, you could search this number in clinicaltrials.gov and get more info. This is the title of the actual clinical trial, clinical study to assess subjects with HD, testing this drug laquinimod. For more information, you just click the link, and you'll get a very short patient summary about the drug or a more detailed health professional summary where you'll have more information regarding inclusionary, exclusionary criteria for this study. Okay, you can always click back to where you were by clicking the back arrow, and you'll come back to your match results here. The next column just lists the name of the drug, the type of intervention, and what the most important information here, besides what the drug is actually doing or the study is about, is how to contact people if you are interested. It's telling me that my closest site is in New York, 6 miles away from my zip code, and I click here, the phone icon, and all the information that you need to potentially get connected to this study is right here. You would contact Columbia University Medical Center. Paula Wasserman is the study coordinator, and the phone number, fax, as well as email address for the study coordinators, if we have them, are all provided in the contact information. If, for example, you decide this looks interesting, but I don't want to go to this New York, I want to see if there's something closer to maybe a family member, or I'm traveling to the West Coast, you can just click Change Location, scroll down to see all of the different locations where this trial is being run. I'll also point out that here's a good example that within the database for HD Trials, TrialFinder.org, we have not only U.S. clinical trial sites, but all of the clinical trial sites for Canada as well. So if you are a Canadian, you can put in your postal code instead of zip code, and you will match to clinical trial sites in Canada that are closest to you. So you can click I'd like to change and go to Vancouver for this clinical trial, and the contact information at University of British Columbia is listed right here for your convenience. You might be doing this late at night and you're perusing the website. You can, when you think this is interesting and you want to come back to it, you can just click the star and bookmark this trial and come back to it at a later date. You can do the same thing with all of these other different trials listed here by easily changing location, unless there's only one location for this particular site or for this particular study. In other tabs, there are other things besides interventional and clinical studies going on. There are biomarker and imaging studies, which you can view by clicking this tab and see where these are going on, as well as quality of life studies, one going on in Stony Brook and one in Columbus, where you can They're not particularly interventional studies, but they're very important nonetheless, and you can get information about that and learn how to get connected with them, just like it was an interventional study. If you have any questions, you'll run into any issues regarding getting set up with an account or filling out your profile, all you need to do here is click the Need Assistance Finding a Clinical Trial that might be right for you. Email us, click the envelope. You'll be taken to this web page where you can fill out your information and send it to us. And this information, the questions, will go both to myself as well as my partners at Emerging Med. And if it's a question regarding an account, you'll most likely hear from Emerging Med. They're the best people to set you up and help you with that. If it's a question regarding a particular clinical trial, you'll be hearing from HDSA, in particular me, George Orling, and I'll help you as best as I can to get you the information that you desire. What I will say is, you can go back to your saved profiles, and at any point, and you'll see here in your saved profiles that we bookmarked one of the trial matches, and you can go here and it'll take you right back to this, to the study you bookmarked. You can update your profile at any time. So if you go into Update Profile, you can change the zip code, but let's keep it the same for our points here. Let's say we just want to see I'm 40-ish and I don't have adult onset Huntington's disease, but I am at risk for developing the disorder, and everything else stays the same. You can see how the system will match you very quick. And what we see, as we should expect, is that there really, this is a small interview study that's just recently been added, but for the most part, there's one major clinical trial for you if you're at risk, and that's Enroll HD. You can click on the tab on the hyperlink and be taken to patient summary as well as a health professional summary about the study. You can always go back by clicking the arrow. And just like in the Legato study, or you can change your location where you'd like to be. I don't want to go into New York, maybe I want to stay on the Jersey side. We can click Change Location and get all the information for that particular site right here. I will say that any of the information, it's important to note that all of the information that you put in here resides in a secure server at Emerging Med. HDSA does not have access to this information, nor do we want access to this information. We just want to provide clinical trial information to the community. It's as secure as the system could potentially be. And in case of any type of breach, we're not asking for any specific identifying information besides an email address and zip code. So hopefully any kind of breach, which hopefully will never happen, would not be impactful. I'll also note that if at any point you want to get rid of your profile, you can. And in the privacy policy, if you click down below here, at the bottom of the page, you can see an extensive privacy policy from Emerging Med and ways to communicate with them so that you can remove any profile or information from their database. And once it's removed forever. So that's really the website. It's as simple as that. And so if you have any questions, feel free to type those questions in now. And If not, you can always use the website here, hdtrialfinder.org, and type your questions in using the Need Assistance web email system, or contact me at any time at gyorling@hdsa.org, or by calling HDSA at 800-345-HDSA. So I have a few questions here. So if a person clicked no, would the TrialFinder still send the person trial opportunities, or is it just not additional emails that it would defer? So if you clicked no, you'll still be able to get information and search different trials near you. We just won't reach out to you to provide you any more information. So what this system can do is, if you type in and match to a trial, or you see that there really aren't any trials in your area, but on occasion new studies become activated or become live, and if a new study site opens up in your area, this system allows us to go in by a zip code or the whole system, or state by state, and alert people via email that, hey, there's you've signed up on hdtrialfinder.org, and there's a new trial site in your area, and we can send you that information. By clicking no, we will not be able to send you that information. If a trial is not on HDTrialFinder, does that mean it is funded in some way by HDSA? If a trial is on HDTrialFinder, does that mean that it is funded in some way by HDSA? No, absolutely not. So what is in our database, and it's a great question, the database for HDTrialFinders are all of the active, currently recruiting HD clinical trials in Canada and the United States that are listed on CT or clinicaltrials.gov, as well as others such as, as an example, there could be trial or experimental medicine or non-interventional studies that are ongoing by and funded by institutions like HDSA or other HD organizations that might not be listed in clinicaltrials.gov. We have a way to add that information to the database. So it's another great aspect of hdtrialfinder.org, is that you may find research opportunities in HDTrialFinder that you will not find in clinicaltrials.gov. So if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. But hopefully, as you see, it's a pretty straightforward site, pretty easy to use. You can't mess it up. You can always go back to your profiles, adjust your profile to answer and mess around with it and see what different trials you match with by answering different questions. And you can also create, I should also note that you can create new profiles under the same email address. So by clicking here, I can go in and now click one for my family member under the same zip code. Or maybe let's do, that's an old North Carolina zip code. And you can create one this way, answering the same questions, and you'll get different results based on the zip code and the questions you provide here. And they'll all be listed in your, now you'll see it in your saved profiles as one for New York City, one for North Carolina, and you can create as many new profiles as you want. And when you're done with them, you can delete them whenever you like. So that's all. Thank you for your time, and like I said, hopefully you'll take a look at the site, spread the word of the site, and if you have any issues or you see any issues within the site, don't hesitate to let HDSA, as well as emerging med know of issues that you think need to be attended to on the site. So I thank you for your time, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you all in Dallas in June for our national convention. And until then, I'll say goodbye and stay tuned for future HDSA webinars in the summer months. Thank you so much. Take care.